Welcome back to Balancing the Books. That's not my channel name. Welcome back to Drinking by My Shelf. This is Balancing the Books. So I started February with 38 books on my TBR. We are doing so well, guys. So I'm not gonna lie, I did start February with a massive book haul. It was not exactly what I meant to do. We're gonna put you just there. Oh, I should have lit the candles. Oh well. It's actually really warm in this room already because right here where you can't see, I have my laundry on a heated rack, so I'm kind of sweating anyway. The first 4 books that I hauled, I actually don't want to spoil for you because they were the results of my Trash My TBR, and that video will come up hopefully next month. So let's just say that from my Trash My TBR, you guys did great. You trashed most of the books there, but I ended up hauling 4 of them. So we're just going to add a mystery 4 and you will find out soon. Okay, next. 2 books that I took home from the office. We have The Harpy by Megan Hunter, which sounds great. So I read a Megan Hunter book before called The End We Start From, which was like a kind of dystopian, like end of the world story. It was really short, really good. This is another short one, but this is about a married couple and the husband cheats on the wife, and so the wife says that to get revenge, she is allowed to hurt him 3 times. But it's apparently like this quite surreal, like fairy tale-y story, and I think she kind of transforms her body a bit. Like it's not just a straightforward revenge story. So it sounds great, and I loved Megan Hunter's writing before. I also brought home this one, Paul Takes the Form of a Mortal Girl. So this one, I did a video for Book Break that was on Steamy Books, and this was one of the books that my colleagues who'd read it recommended that I include in there. So then like doing the research for that video made me really want to read it. I actually already said all of this in my TBR tour really recently, so I'm really sorry if I'm repeating myself. But the haul continued. Again, I talked about these in my TBR tour. These were 2 books that I just picked up randomly from browsing Waterstones. I hadn't heard about them before, but they sounded great. This is The Housekeeper and the Professor by, what is her name? It just says Ogawa, but she has a first name. Yoko Ogawa, and it's about like memory loss, which is one of my favourite tropes in a book. And this one, Trust Exercise, is about 2 teenagers at drama school, I think, or in drama class at school, and they have this really charismatic teacher, and then we catch up with them years later and find out what really happened, and that I think like what we heard the first time around was maybe unreliable. So both tropes that I absolutely love. Whew. And then I actually started reading books, which was lucky. Let's bring you back. Okay, so I read a book that I have already unhauled and given to charity, and that was Overshare by Rose and Rosie. I am a massive Rose and Rosie fan. I absolutely love them. I've followed them for years and I think they're great, and I enjoyed their book, but I never really love that kind of book, like celebrity memoirs. They're just not really my thing. So while I love Rose and Rosie and I enjoyed reading their book, it's never going to really be one of my favourites. It's so rare for a book like that to become one of my favourites. The parts of it I found really, really interesting. I loved the chapter on mental health in particular. So yeah, it was like a 3-star. I enjoyed it. I've given it to charity now. Someone else will love it. Then I read Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. This one was for my book club with my friends, and I didn't like it. I gave it like a 2, I think. It wasn't really my thing. I love dystopian books, so I had kind of high hopes, but for me the problem with that one was the writing style. It was too detached. So I do this thing, let me know if anyone else does this. If I'm finding a book boring, I will sometimes look up like the Spark Notes or something and look up little spoilers for the chapter that's coming, because if I know what's coming and it sounds interesting, I'm more compelled to keep reading. It's like that thing about how apparently having spoilers actually makes you enjoy things more because you know what's coming, so you know what to look for. So sometimes that helps me enjoy a book. But what I noticed from doing that with Parable of the Sower is, say I looked up a chapter and it would say, like, I'm going to make up something so that I'm not giving spoilers if anyone does want to read this, but say it said in the Spark Notes for like a bullet point saying she watched her sister die in front of her and it was distressing. I'll be like, wow, okay, well that sounds like that's going to be a really emotionally intense section, so I'll listen until that bit. And I'll get to that bit and the actual words in the book would say she watched her sister die in front of her and it was distressing. Like, it was like you didn't get any insight beyond just the facts of what happened. So yeah, I was really bored by that one. And will not be continuing with the series. So warm, so warm. Why is it so warm? Okay, a book that was a reread, so it doesn't affect my scores. I reread Little Women, both volumes, and I made a video on my theories of whether Louisa May Alcott was trans. So I will link to that, go and watch it. I'd love to know what you guys think. I am kind of obsessed with Little Women now because I loved the movie so much. I really loved volume 1 of the book, didn't like volume 2 as much, but overall like really enjoyed my experience of rereading it. Okay, then I hauled another book which I've left downstairs. God damn it, please hold. Okay, I'm back. This is a book that I hauled from the office. This is Laura Cassidy's Walk of Fame, which is an Irish novel about a young woman about my age who is obsessed with becoming a famous actress. Her father always used to tell her she was going to be a star and going to get her name on the Walk of Fame, and so she's just obsessed with this dream, and it's kind of this story of like this really troubled young woman trying to sort out who she is and like find her place in the world. So I have since read this one, but I can't tell you my thoughts on it because that would be spoilers, because it's now March when I'm filming this and I only just finished this one literally on my train home today. So you're going to have to wait until the next Balancing the Books to hear about that one. And unfortunately for me, I have to wait until next month before I can subtract it from my score. Then it was Thrillerathon, so I read a ton of thrillers, and again I will link to that video. I vlogged the whole week. It's like half an hour long, me reading mostly really enjoyable thrillers. So I'm not going to go into details about my thoughts on all of those because I've already done that. You can go and watch the video, you can like skip to the end if you just want to know my ratings of it. So I'll just tell you for the scores. I read You're Not Alone by Greer, Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I read Wilder Girls by Rory Power. I read Give Me Your Hand by Megan Abbott. I read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. The Silent Patient by Michaelides. When I Was 10 by Fiona Cummins. I hauled and read The Test by Sylvain Neuvel. Spoilers, this was my favourite one of the Thrillerathon. I read The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. Our Dark Secret by Jenny Quintana. Then Thrillerathon was over, but having really enjoyed the first Blake Crouch I decided to haul Recursion, and then I read that one as well. And actually, I guess I should actually talk about Recursion because this one didn't get mentioned in Thrillerathon. So Blake Crouch basically writes these like sci-fi thrillers, and I'm not a big sci-fi person, so as you will see in my vlog, I went on a real journey with Dark Matter. I started enjoying it, then I got to the midway point and I was like, I hate this because it was too science fiction for me. I thought it was stupid, I wanted to stop reading it. I only really kept going because it was the group book, and I'm so glad I did because then I ended up loving it. So that one was about parallel universes, which was fun, and actually I really liked what he did with it at the end. But it's not my favourite topic. This one was about time travel, which is my favourite topic. And I've read so many time travel books, and it's one of those things, the same as memory loss. Those are both things that I absolutely love, and yet almost always hate when I actually read them or watch the movies because I find so many loopholes with it. I just don't like the way they do it. This was one that I found really fun. Obviously with time travel there's always going to be plot holes. It's never going to make sense because time travel doesn't make sense, but I really like whenever I find a new unique way of exploring time travel, which is what happened in Recursion. So this is about a world in which this false memory syndrome seems to be spreading. People are suddenly getting hit with memories of whole entire lives, like kids and marriages and jobs and places that they lived that never happened, but these memories feel really, really real. And it turns out that it is because of this technology which has been invented, which is a form of time travel which is so different from anything I've read before, and that's what I really liked about it. I used to have like my one type of time travel I liked reading about, which was the way it works in Harry Potter, where everything's a circle and you go back and change something, but that only works because actually you already did that and you're kind of like completing this circle. And that used to be the only way I liked reading about time travel. Now I'm bored of that one. I love it when people come up with a new way of doing it. And this one, I'm just not going to tell you because you should read it and discover it, but yeah, it was just like a slightly different way of doing it and I liked it. I actually made a whole video years ago, like one of my first booktube videos was on books about time travel. So once again, I will link to that. It's probably a really badly done video because it was early days, but there you go, talking about all the different things I love. And finally, I then read, as you may know by now, 10 books in 24 hours, but they do not count at all on my TBR because I had to buy them in order to do it. So I did my 24-hour readathon with my sister. That video is live now. We had so much fun, genuinely so much fun. I obviously did my 24-hour readathon before where I read this series of unfortunate events, and that was, I'm glad I did it, but it was a weird experience. Whereas doing this one with my sister, I just genuinely loved it. And also, these books are actually so funny, like laugh out loud. We were laughing the whole way through the 24 hours. These are I'm definitely going to keep these. I'm going to reread these. I thought they were brilliant. I was not expecting to like them that much. I thought it would be fun in like a nostalgic way because I read the first few when I was younger, but I actually think I found them funnier now than I did when I was a teenager. They're just brilliant. Mia is a hot mess. A lot of the characters are just complete disasters, but it's just really genuinely very funny, very tongue-in-cheek, really enjoyable. So if you're looking for a fun YA series, I cannot recommend these highly enough. So all of that means that even though I read a fuck ton of books this month, I actually have only gone down one from 38 to 37 in the whole of February. Well done, Emma. Stop buying books, you dumb bitch. But still, my books are now officially balanced, and in fact, you know, one down, brought that TBR one step closer to 0. I'm pretty happy with that result. So do give this video a thumbs up if you like balancing the books, and definitely let me know if you're doing anything similar. I always love when people tag me in their videos that are kind of inspired by this. And of course, subscribe to my channel. I make videos twice every week. See you next time.